I've already mentioned, the Ghana Police Service is one of the legacies of our colonial past. But long before the first police uniform was sewn, communities had learned how to live together. Before courts were built, disputes were settled. Before statutes were written, wrong was already understood. Custom was the first law. Culture was the first constitution. It taught restraint before punishment, responsibility before rights, and harmony before victory. It reminded people that their actions did not end with themselves, that every deed echoed through family, lineage, and memory. In those days, a child feared disappointing an elder more than facing authority. A man thought twice before wrongdoing, not because of arrest, but because shame will outlive him. Conduct was shaped long before crime could take root. That is the quiet power of culture. When culture is strong, crime struggles to breathe. When culture collapses, law enforcement is forced to compensate. No number of officers, no matter how disciplined, no matter how well equipped, can replace a society that has lost its moral compass. Law enforcement functions best where people already believe that order is worth protecting. This is why we have been pleased to join hands with Dr. Tayuno, the Inspector General of Police, to initiate this conversation. It has been most useful at this point in time to engage with an IGP steeped in history and culture and able to appreciate the essential interplay between the two. He is aware of the extent to which the colonial authorities relied on traditional authorities for the maintenance of law and order. Indeed, you know that the British were content to make domestic law and order a joint function between law enforcement and traditional rulers. When the Asantehene nation became part of the new nation state of the Gold Coast, the Asantehene was allowed to keep and maintain his own police. Ahemfie police had all the authority of the colonial police well into the onset of independence. Along the original Gold Coast colony, one of the most eminent chiefs was Nene Azuma Tekole, the corner of Menya Krobo, who in his life played a key role in the preservation of law and order. It is no wonder that Kroboland gave us the first Ghanaian head of the police, the eminent Teria Majite, who was to go on to serve as leader of opposition in parliament. And it is no surprise that the seed of the past continues to flower in our incumbent RGP. The lessons of history suggest that we can build a safer, more peaceful society by conscious effort to bring the guardians of culture and the protectors of law ever closer together to create an interlocking mechanism based on the cardinal principle that culture cannot do without the police and the police cannot succeed without culture. Culture without law becomes nostalgia. Beautiful stories with no teeth. Law without culture becomes false, effective but brittle. One shapes the heart, the other restrains the hand. A society that restrains only the hand while neglecting the heart merely postpones disorder. As the king and embodiment of one of Africa's great enduring cultures, I've seen culture at its finest, and I have also seen it at its worst. I've opened up the deliberations of Asantehene and our traditional councils to the global media so the world can see how genuine customs resolves disputes peacefully, preserving relationships and dignity. I've also seen how distorted tradition may be used to justify violence and impunity. What we have seen and done reinforces my belief that when authority, traditional or otherwise, employs disorder as a tool, it has abandoned legitimacy. Custom was never designed to protect criminals. It was designed to prevent crime. Every culture in Ghana provides a formula for resolving disputes, and it is only when our fidelity to cultural values fail that disorder takes over. True tradition aligns with justice. It does not compete with it. This is why the role of the Ghana Police Service is indispensable. I recall that Christian only recently assumed the position of Inspector General of Police under a cloud at a time when public expectations of the police were high and patience was thin. Within this short period, the impact of leadership has been felt, and we see a style reflecting the essential element in law enforcement: calm authority anchored in professionalism. The greatest victory of law enforcement is prevention, and prevention begins long before police sirens sound. It begins in homes, and it begins in homes where discipline is taught, in communities where elders are respected, in cultures where wrongdoing is socially discouraged before it becomes legally punishable. This is where culture performs its most important work. In a society where values are strong, the police officer is not viewed as an adversary, but as a partner. The uniform commands respect not because it carries force, but because it represents shared principles. Now imagine a society where values have collapsed. In such a place, the police officer becomes a symbol of oppression. The law becomes an external imposition, and crime becomes defiance masquerading as freedom. The difference between the two societies is not the number of laws on the books, it is the presence or absence of culture. It should be obvious to us, therefore, that the alignment of cultural values with the values of law should be the first step towards crime prevention. Our visit today sets us up on a journey towards crystallizing the alignment of values and sends a powerful national message. The tradition and modern law enforcement are not rivals struggling for relevance. They are collaborators safeguarding the same future. When traditional authority respects legal authority, communities stabilize. When police respect local customs, cooperation deepens. When both communicate openly, crime loses its hiding place. If law alone can save society, then countries with the thickest law books will have no problems, no prisons at all. Yet even prisons have rules and still require values. The truth is simple, even if uncomfortable. No society can outsource morality entirely to the state and expect peace. Together, we must raise citizens, not just enforce laws. Therefore, I have come to join you to call together for deeper institutionalized collaboration between traditional authorities and the Ghana Police Service. Let chiefs serve as allies in community policing. Let officers be trained to understand the customs of the people they protect. Let dialogue precede deployment and mediation precede confrontation. This is not softness, it is intelligence. The future of public order lies not in louder sirens, but in stronger values, supported by competent, disciplined law enforcement. We hope the conversation we begin today will culminate in some institutional arrangement which should guarantee effective and respectful collaboration. You will no doubt be aware that among the guardians of traditions, we are fortunate to have eminent men like my own brother Togwe Sri, the Omefia of Alo, who before his entombment was one of the highest ranking of police officers, and he even served in Ashanti. You can have every assurance about the presence of a vast community of guardians of culture, ready to connect with you for a new era in nation building.